Hi, fourth graders. We are going to continue with front desk today. It is a Wednesday, so we will not be meeting together about front desk, but you will be doing a journal entry in the Wednesday column today in your Google Classroom assignment. And remember, this week it doesn't necessarily have to be a summarizing. It can, but really it can be any of our journal entry options. So maybe you're going to do your main idea, make a prediction. You could give a sequence of events. It's totally up to you for Wednesday today. So try and think of where we left off yesterday. In chapter 38, we're going to read 3 short ones today, but you only need to do the one entry. Chapter 38 is where we left off, and this one starts with Jason. Think back of who Jason is again. Jason glared at me the next day. I could feel his anger vibrating off of him. I put my head down on my desk to avoid having to look at him, but when I looked up again, I noticed he was twirling a pencil. He was always doing this, but then I noticed it wasn't just any ordinary pencil this time. It was my pencil. The one my dad got me. "Hey, give me that," I said, nearly jumping out of my chair, but Jason quickly held the sparkly green pencil beyond my reach. I waved my hand frantically so that Mrs. Douglas could see what an emergency this was. "Yes, Mia?" Mrs. Douglas said. "Jason stole my pencil," I said, narrowing my eyes at him. The word shot out of my mouth, sizzling hot. Mrs. Douglas turned to Jason. "Is that true?" Jason, expert faker that he was, feigned shock and outrage. "Ah, of course not, Mrs. Douglas. This is my pencil. I would never take anything from Mia." "Liar!" I exclaimed. "That's enough, Mia," Mrs. Douglas said. "Both of you, up here, now." She motioned with her finger for the two of us to come up to her desk. I stared at my sparkly pencil in Jason's hand, which he clutched tightly with his sticky, sweaty fingers as we walked over to Mrs. Douglas. "Is this about what happened at Hot Seat?" Mrs. Douglas asked. "No," Jason blurted at the same time. I said, "Of course it is." "He's mad I won," I told Mrs. Douglas. "So he had to take the one thing. The one thing." Tears slammed into the back of my eyes as I tried to get the words out. "You didn't win. There is no winning in Hot Seat. There's only sitting," Jason said. "Give me the pencil," Mrs. Douglas said. Jason handed it to her. I watched as she turned it 360 degrees. I don't see any name on it," Mrs. Douglas said. "That's because it cost $5.99, I told her. "That wasn't a pencil. That was practically jewelry. You can't just write your name on a piece of jewelry." "Exactly, which is why it has to be mine," Jason pointed at me. "You really think she can afford something this nice?" My jaw dropped. What a thing to say! "I'm afraid without a name on it, we can't tell for sure whose it is," Mrs. Douglas said. I sucked in my breath, preparing for the worst. Mrs. Douglas was going to keep the pencil for herself. I should have known. She'd probably had her eye on it for days. "There's only one thing to do," Mrs. Douglas said. "Break the pencil in half." I gasped. How could she suggest such a thing? But before I could say anything, Jason shouted, "No, no, don't break the pencil in half. Let her have it." Mrs. Douglas smiled. "Now we know who the true owner of the pencil is," she said. I held out a trembling hand. "Jason," she decided. Mrs. Douglas said that because I took so long responding to the proposal of breaking the pencil in half, I could not possibly be the rightful owner, and Jason, with his touching, heartfelt plea on behalf of the pencil, must be the rightful owner, so the pencil was his. It was the stupidest, most unfair thing I'd ever heard, and I had to bite the inside of my cheeks to keep from crying. On the way back to our desk, I turned to Jason and asked in a very small voice, "Please, Jason, can you give me back my pencil? It's very important to me." He thought for a second. "It's important to you, huh?" he asked, and I nodded. Jason held up my pencil as if to give it to me. I reached out my hand to take it, then he whipped the pencil back, stuck out his tongue, and licked it. He licked my beautiful, sparkly pencil, and down with his nasty, evil tongue. I was so startled. I made a noise that came out half as a snort and half as a chirp, which only made him laugh. He stuck the pencil in his pocket as the bell rang. School was over, and Jason walked right off with the nicest thing that I had. Whew. That's the end of chapter 38. You could do a journal entry there. If you're typing that up, pause the video, Make sure you keep listening, though. It's important that you hear all 3 of the chapters today so we can continue tomorrow. So chapter 39 starts with Mia's writing. She's writing a letter to Jason. Dear Jason, I hate you. Oh, she crossed that off. Please give me back my pencil, or else I'm going to punch you in the face. She edited that out too. For the following reasons. Number 1, it's mine. Number 2, you have so many pencils, including 2 really cool bendable ones that you don't even use. It's totally unfair. She crossed that off too. That pencil costs a lot of money, and I know you saw it at Macy's, but we were just looking. We do not have savings. Number 4, that pencil's really important to me. You have no idea how much it means to me. And then she went back and decided to edit that out and cross that off as well. Sincerely, Mia. I crossed out number 4, the part where it's really important to me, because I knew Jason wouldn't care. If anything, it would only make him want to keep the pencil even more, just to irritate me. Wasn't that what this was all about? The phone started ringing and I put my pencil down. It was Mr. Yao. I frowned. Ugh, now what? Tell your parents I'm going to be gone this weekend, he said. I half listened as he explained he was taking his family to Las Vegas. I was in no mood to listen to his vacation plans. What are you telling me this for? I said on the phone. I'm telling you because you guys keep having all those issues with the cable, he said. If you have any while I'm gone, I left Joe's number with my housekeeper. I sat up in my stool. So you're not going to be at your house this weekend? That's right. None of you? Not even Jason? Right. It occurred to me that there could be an opportunity here. What do you think she's thinking? Interesting. I have a feeling she could be scheming something. All right. Lupe was less than enthused when I told her my plan. I don't know, she said. What do you mean? All we have to do is go over to his house after school and tell the housekeeper that we're from the Girl Scouts and we're here to sell cookies. Then we'll ask her if we can use the bathroom. And when you're using the bathroom, I'll sneak into Jason's room and I'm going to get my pencil back. I had been over the plan with her 3 times already. It was perfect. Lupe looked away. I don't want to get in trouble, she said. You're not going to get in trouble, I said. They're out of town. It'll just be their housekeeper. If there's anyone even there, the whole thing's only going to take 5 minutes. Lupe shook her head. I crossed my arms. I was beginning to get really tired of this. You know, you always do this, I said to her. Do what? Chicken out. What do you mean? She asked. The fact that she didn't even know what I was talking about was even more infuriating. You never stand up for me, I said to her. I thought you were my friend. You don't get it, do you? Get what? Nothing. Just forget it, I said. There was no mistaking it, the anger in her eyes. What are you talking about? I asked her. I'm talking about you. You're going to Vermont. You can say all this crazy stuff to Jason because he likes you, she exclaimed. Well, what about me? I blinked in confusion. I can't go with you to Mr. Yao's house, she said. My dad still needs Mr. Yao. Lupe squeezed her eyes shut. Unlike you, we don't have another plan. Okay. So let's read one more. It's another short one. And then if you hadn't done a journal entry on the first 2, make sure you do one with chapter 40 here. The storm in Lupe's face stuck with me after she left. I felt sick with regret, making her feel this way. After all she'd done for me, Lupe was my best friend. She was the one who told me about the roller coaster in the first place. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even know about it. And there I was, going on and on about my plan to get off of it without even thinking about her. It should be her entering the contest, not me. Let's face it, she had a much better chance of winning anyways. I decided to write her a letter. And here it is. And I'll tell you what she crosses out and decides to edit. Dear Lupe, I'm sorry I said all those things. I completely understand if you don't actually want to go to Mr. Yao's house with me. Actually, I've been thinking about it, and I don't think I'm going to go either. You're right. It's too risky. We have to be careful. I might have a plan, but for now, we still work for him. And as you say, we still need him. About the plan, I've been thinking, why don't you enter the essay contest? I can tell you what to write about. You probably have a better shot at winning it. Your grammar's a lot better than mine. If you win, maybe we can run it together. What do you think? Your friend, Mia. The next day, I went very early to school to put the letter on Lupe's desk. I also had something special for Jason, but it wasn't the letter I wrote him. It was something else I had picked up recently from another Chinese immigrant when I was helping his uncle with his luggage. I had pulled too hard and got a blister on my hand. The man said he had just the thing and gave me a little vial of Chinese medicine. It felt minty and cool on my finger, but when I reached up to my tongue to tuck my bangs behind my ear, my minty finger got a little too close to my eye. I was crying in seconds. So after I set Lupe's letter down on her desk, I practically soaked Jason's pencil with the same stuff that had made me cry. Let's see him twirl these suckers now. Jason did not notice the gleam on his pencils when he sat down later that morning. He was too busy bragging about Las Vegas and all the great food he ate and the luxurious suite that they stayed in. They had a pool with 3 pool slides. There was even a restaurant right smack in the... When are you going to give me my pencil back? I asked. I wanted to cut to the chase. I couldn't care less about his fancy pools, considering I stared at one all day. You mean my pencil? He shrugged. I gave it to my dog. Wealthy. It's probably all chewed up by now. He would give it to his dog, and he would have a dog named Wealthy. Jason smirked, picked up one of his pencils, and started twirling. He twirled a little too close to his face, and just as I predicted, the strong minty smell made his eyes water. He put the pencil down and began rubbing his eyes furiously with his menthol fingers. Ha! Big mistake, Jason. Oh my God, Jason's crying, one of my classmates exclaimed. No, I'm not, Jason insisted, blinking furiously, but it was too late. Everyone ran over and huddled next to Jason. It wasn't every day a kid in 5th grade started bawling. 4th grade, maybe, but not 5th grade. We watched with wide eyes as Jason cried and cried. Sunlight flooded in through the tall glass windows, and Jason's tears glistened in the warm peach glow. I couldn't stop smiling the whole time. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. And that's where I will leave off. Make sure you do a journal entry today and have a great rest of your day.